Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paula McCain. I'm a business advisor with the North Central Texas Small Business Development Center. Today is National Mom and Pop Business Day. Our economy couldn't run without mom and pop businesses. It's also National Lemon Chiffon Cake Day. The SBDC is a leading provider of assistance for small businesses. We are grant funded, and because of that, we can bring resources and webinars to you like today's at no cost. Today's webinar is how to build a high quality email list, part 3. It is presented by Ashley Cook. And if you could put your questions in the chat room, Ashley will get to them throughout her presentation. Let me introduce Ashley. Ashley spent 13 years of sales and marketing and analytics in the corporate world. She shifted to serving small business owners, developed copy for multi-million-dollar brands, social media influences, and small startups. She's a copywriter as well as a copy coach. And she is the creator of Lane Copywriting. Thank you, Ashley. We appreciate you being here today.
Thanks, Paula. All right. Let me get this shared. And I'll get the chat box up in case y'all have any questions as we go through. All right, we have made it to part 3 of how to build a high quality email list. So just to do a brief recap in case you missed or want to remember what we talked about in part 1 and 2. We kicked off this 3-part series by covering some of the foundation pieces of, what is email marketing, why your business needs it, why it's such a profitable marketing effort for your business, and all the growth potential that comes within it. We talked about the different types of email marketing and some of those key metrics that you want to keep an eye on as you start to get or continue on in your email when sending emails out to your list. And then we wrap that first part up with some best practices on writing click-worthy emails and some of those irresistible subject lines. So that was the foundation piece. In part 2, we focused in on how do you start to build your list? How do you get more people to jump on your list to subscribe so that they can start receiving your emails? And that had to do with creating your freebie or your opt-in, which is called a lead magnet. So we went into the nitty-gritty on what's a lead magnet, why does it matter, the different types of lead magnets that are out there, so that you can choose the one that best communicates your value or your freebie to your potential subscribers. We went through some of those top strategies for creating a lead magnet that's really elevated and will really entice your subscribers or your new subscribers to give you their email addresses. And then we walked through the exact steps on how to create one. And then wrapped it up with, once you have it created, then what do you do? We walked through some strategies on different places where you could go in and promote your lead magnet so that folks will hand over their email addresses and you can start visiting them in their inbox. So today is all around what do you do once they join your list? So we're going to go into the welcome emails. So what are those first initial emails that people receive? So what is a welcome sequence? What are the must-haves that you want to have, those key components in a welcome sequence to really make it on fire, maximize the use of those initial emails. Also, we'll go into what not to say in your email, some of those pitfalls or faux pas. And then we'll go through, I'll share with you the exact steps to write your welcome email sequence. That'll be like a little mini workshop style. So if you want to go ahead and grab a pen and paper or just open up a Google Doc and be ready to jot down some ideas for your emails, that'd be great. So get that ready. And then we'll wrap up with some fun tips that you can use to upgrade your emails and really give them that splash of personality and flair. So if you did want to go and either watch or rewatch part 1 and part 2, you can go to the SBDC's YouTube page and you can see the part 1 and part 2 of this webinar series there. So and then this is where that YouTube page will be where this one goes as well. All right. So what is a welcome email sequence? It is, when you think about it at its simplest, it's those first few emails that someone signs up for or that someone receives after they sign up for your list. They're usually automated. It's highly preferred if they are automated because you don't want to have to be remembering when to send, email number 2 to this person, email number 4 to that person. You can load them into your email marketing tool and then automate them out so that your subscribers will get these handful of welcome emails kind of dripped out to them over a period of days or a couple of weeks. So when you think about the purpose of a welcome email sequence, it's actually multifold. So it's a solid way for you to make a first impression with your new subscriber. You can welcome them on your list. So when you think about they're giving you their email address. So they're giving you, when they give you their email address, they're giving you the permission, the okay, the green light to come and stop by their inbox, pay them a visit, say what you need to say, serve them how you best serve them. And so it's a wonderful opportunity for you to welcome them and thank them for doing that. Welcome sequences are also a great spot for them to start learning about who you are. So you can tell them about who you are, your company values, share what you're all about, start letting them know how you can help them in the area that you are so gifted at helping them. And when you think about the welcome sequence and why it matters, it may sound like, okay, well, that's nice, but is it really necessary? So what I want to do is just lay down some cold hard facts about welcome emails and how important they are so that you can get those going and set up for your email list and start making the most that you possibly can and capitalizing on these first initial communications. All right, so when it comes to sending welcome email sequences or that welcome email, they typically have the highest open rate. So some research will even say that the open rates for your welcome email go up to like 91% on average. So it's for good reason, because it's the moment that a person is opting in to your email list. They're feeling the most excited to learn about what it is that you're all about, your brand is about, what your company has to offer. It's new, it's like meeting someone new and that excitement that you feel of like, oh, I get to know them, I get to know what they're about, and there's the intrigue and the curiosity. And research also shows that new leads are the most engaged within 48 hours of subscribing to your list. So when you send that welcome email, you want to do it right off the bat and get them within the first couple of days of whenever they're on your list. Preferably for that initial email, you do it immediately whenever they subscribe to your list. So you want to make sure to grab them while they're the most excited and send them that intro email. Now, welcome emails also have about 4 times the open rate and 5 times the click-through rates of your traditional standard marketing emails. So you want to make sure and not miss this opportunity. Basically, the point of this slide is to say your welcome email sequence is untapped potential and an amazing opportunity for you to get build that solid first impression and really take advantage of that the curiosity and that excitement and start to build that with your list. Because this on the far right of the screen, you'll notice that 3 out of 4 people are expecting to receive welcome emails when they subscribe to your list. So if you don't send those out, that lead can go cold. And they may even forget that they're on your list. They probably will. And then if they receive a message from you like a month down the road, they may be like, I don't remember subscribing to this. So you want to make sure. And it's kind of like having a new neighbor. You just go by and introduce yourself. And it's just a great way to start getting that rapport built out. What was interesting about this is that as important as welcome emails are, half of businesses don't actually automatically send out a welcome email to their new subscribers. So there's really an amazing opportunity here for you to set yourself apart from your competition, just simply by having a handful of emails that are automatically loaded. You write them once, you load them into your email marketing platform, and you're ready to go. That's just a very simple way to differentiate yourself from others. All right, so what should you include in a welcome email sequence? Is it enough to just say, hi, thanks, be in touch soon? Sure, yeah, you can absolutely do that. And that's better. It's probably going to be better than sending nothing at all. But what I like to do is be a little bit more strategic when it comes to sending out those welcome emails. So what I've done is I've put together 10 must-have components or those key parts of a welcome email series. And because the email sequence, the welcome sequence consists of multiple emails, you don't have to cram all these 10 things into one email. You can start seeding them throughout each one and not just have to worry about overstuffing your email, which is something you definitely don't want to have happen. So what are the 10? All right, so the first one is, and I'll have this list of 10 towards the back end of the presentation too, so if you're not able to capture all of it, you will see this again towards the end of the webinar. But one of the first one is you want to say welcome, you want to say thank you, you want to express gratitude for them joining your list. They just gave you permission to visit their inbox, so they want to hear from you, so that's a gift, so thank them. The second piece is around setting expectations. So how often are they going to hear from you? Are you one that's going to email them every day, 3 times a week, monthly, every other week, every now and then? What type of information are you going to send? Are you going to just send, like property listings? Or are you going to send promos? Are you going to send blog? If you write a blog or you record that podcast episode, let them know, set those expectations so they know when to expect to see you and what you're going to show up with. The third is restate the benefits of subscribing. So this is a great time to reaffirm the incredible value that you're going to offer them by them just simply being on your list. The fourth has to do with encouraging whitelisting. So whitelisting is, at its simplest, when it comes to email, whitelisting means that your email address is getting added to a list of people or organizations that have been given the okay to send emails to that address. So it's basically a way to significantly reduce the chances of your email getting flagged as spam if they whitelist your email address once they subscribe. The fifth is an opportunity to introduce yourself. So you want to make sure that that's included in your welcome sequence. So you share about who you are, what got you into this work. We do businesses with those that we like, know, and trust. So start weaving those pieces into these introductory emails. Then you can show your best of. This is a great way to give value and to show readers that you care about them, that it's not all just about making the sale, but you actually have helpful resources that they can connect in with that will make their life easier. Then number 7, get them to do micro yeses or micro commitments. So there's the strategy behind this, or the rationale behind this particular strategy has to do with shifting your reader from like a cold lead into a hot lead or a warm lead. So when you think about it's a pretty huge leap to go from a cold subscriber to a buyer. We shared in one of the previous webinars how the majority of those who join your list are not ready to buy. So when you start introducing this concept of these micro yeses or micro commitments, that's a way to start getting them to warm up. And what it essentially is you're warming them up, getting them used to saying yes to things that are much lower risk and no cost, very low barriers for them. So an example of a micro yes would be these little yeses along the way that make it a little bit easier for them to say yes to the bigger ask down the road, which is signing up for a call or buying a program or checking out your store or buying products. So a micro yes could be, hey, go check out this video, or you ask a question and you say, reply to this email and let me know. It's a very easy way for your reader to be like, okay, I can reply to that, and there's no strings attached. So it just creates that, it helps to drop their walls and start engaging with you in a much lower risk way. So I'll show you how you can start to seed those through your welcome emails leading up to that bigger ask. 8, you can send them to your social pages so they can follow you on social media, especially if you're interacting or you're updating more frequently than you would do emails. It just gives them another opportunity, another point of interaction for you. Number 9, tell them what to do next. This is called a call to action. So in your emails, when you have a call to action, it's having one call to action that it basically tells them what is that exact next step and how do they take that. It's a very clear, focused way to increase your conversions and get higher results when you are just that crystal clear with one step they can take. And then the 10th is opening a loop to start a conversation. So this is something that you'll want to do at the end of your sequence or your end of your handful of welcome emails. it leaves the conversation open so that the emails that you send after feel like they connect and they flow well. So you know how like when you're reading a book and you get to the end of the book and everything is wrapped up, there's no more questions, you have all the answers you want. That's not how you want your last email in your welcome sequence to feel. You want to make sure that that communication continues to stay open, and I'll show you how some ways that you can do that. So again, because your welcome sequence includes multiple emails, you don't have to worry about cramming all of these 10 items into one, introductory message. So the exercise here a little bit later on, I'll show you how to stagger those in. All right. Now, here's what not to say in your emails. So I'll cover 4 main things of what you want to avoid, common pitfalls that you want to stay away from. And the first one has to do with having a boring or generic subject line. So the only goal of your subject line is to get your reader to click into your email and read what you got. So that is the sole purpose of the subject line. And if your subject line is too generic or is too boring or it feels too spammy or salesy, folks aren't going to open it. And actually quite a lot of folks aren't going to open it. So 69% of subscribers will report spam or will report emails as spam based on the subject line alone. So you're going to want to steer clear of things that don't feel personalized, like or that feel really generic or pushy or salesy. Words like subscription or for free or prize, things that could get flagged by a spam filter or just turn off your reader or just not sound really interesting. Like we've all seen those in our inboxes before. So if you're wondering like, well, what's an interesting inbox? Use yourself as a case study. You can hop into your inbox and just start reading through the subject lines and notice where, okay, this only works if you do your inbox like me, where you just don't delete a whole lot. So you can go through your history and see like what's been read and what's not been read, and notice the ones that you clicked into and see what those subject lines were, because something in them would have grabbed you and encouraged you or enticed you to open up that subject or that email. So when you're thinking about creating a subject line, excuse me, play around with it. Have fun with creating them. Personalize them. Use their name and use their first name in the subject line. Also, get to your point quickly. So half of emails are checked on mobile devices, and so that preview text gets a lot shorter on a mobile screen than it does on your desktop. So you don't want to cut off all the good stuff. So get to your point quickly and have fun with it. Get personal. Try creating a subject line as though you'd write to a friend. Or another tip would be to write your email as it is, and then go through your email and see what is the most what line or what short sentence or phrase from your email would create the most intrigue or have that hook or feel really like interesting or provocative, or maybe it's just specific or it does a really good recap of like a summary of your email. So sometimes it helps to get subject line ideas after you actually draft your email. So so that was that. Second would be kind of along the same veins of the boring subject line, is having your emails be really general or vague. So this is not like receiving a holiday card in the mail where people are giving their updates on their families, or it's not like writing, a letter to your entire family. That feels very, it's not generic, it's not personal, it doesn't feel like you're having that one-on-one conversation. And essentially when you're writing emails, or any copy for that matter, you're wanting to have that one-on-one conversation with your reader. And that's why we talk so much about knowing who your ideal client is, because it would be like trying to have a personal conversation with someone that you just met at an event or just met walking down the street. You're not able to do that because you don't know them. You don't have that familiarity and knowledge of them. So the more that you know your audience, the more specific you can start writing your emails. And the more specific you can write to your emails, the more your emails are going to feel like they're written for one person, which is your ideal client, right? So just remember, when you're writing emails, you're not writing to the multitudes. You're try to get as specific and as personal as possible. All right. So this next little faux pas has to do with asking your readers to do like 4,837 things all throughout your email. And this goes to, I know it can be tempting to be like, I have so many things I want to talk about. What if I want to do a newsletter? Or what if I have this promo and then this new product coming? Break them up into individual emails if you want. Asking your readers to do too many things runs the risk that they're not going to do any of it. And that goes back to the psychology of a confused mind does not buy. So make sure that your readers know exactly what to do and how to do it. So as much as you're able to, just have one call to action in your email that gives them the exact next step and how to take it. And if you have a lot to cover, look for ways that you can break it up into multiple, or you could even do bullet points, but I'd highly encourage you to just keep it to one call to action. And then what you can also do is you can change up that call to action text. So instead of saying like buy now, try something that's a little bit more fun and memorable, like declutter your closet in less time. And then you take that sentence and you hyperlink that sentence to your site or to your landing page where they can book a consult with you if you're a professional organizer. Or instead of saying something like, let's say that you're a fitness instructor or you run your own gym. Instead of saying like download here or click here, you can say, get that pep in your step without having to chug energy drinks. And then it links to a program that you have going on that's around energy, or maybe a nutritionist and you have a meal plan that helps them get that energy naturally through their nutrition. So play around with your call to actions, have fun with that, but try to keep it to just one. And you can mention that same one call to action throughout your, or have that one call to action be throughout your email multiple times, but it all goes back to that one ask. And you can change up how you do that one ask, but just keep it to that one ask. All right. The fourth faux pas is including common spam words. So, you want to watch out for spam, but how do you know what words are trigger words, right? Because none of us want to write any spam words that could flag our emails and just get them chunked into the dreaded spam folder. But here's the challenge. So the challenge has to do with just how many potential spam words there are out there. So I just did a quick search to illustrate this. When looking up what are spam words, here are some of the article titles that popped up on the first page of Google. So the ultimate list of 394 email spam trigger words, 130 spam trigger words to help you stay out of spam, 200 plus words that'll land your email in a spam folder, and then 504 spam words to avoid and land into the inbox. That is an incredibly overwhelming amount of spam words to have to remember to keep up. And frankly, I didn't even click into any of those because it was just not helpful to see like who has time to read or memorize or even digest that sheer amount of spam words. So what I wanted to do instead was share with you some guiding principles to follow as it relates to staying out of spam or to keep your emails from being flagged as spam. So the first one has to do with making sure that your subscribers are whitelisting your email address. Second, get permission to send emails. So this has to do with you want to make sure that you have permission. So don't just add, not just adding people for the sake of adding people, but if people are opting in, if you have that lead magnet and they're entering in their name and email, that's considered permission for you to send them emails. If you are, let's say you're a practitioner or a physical therapist or someone who has an in-person practice where you're seeing patients or clients, or even a financial advisor or something like that, and your new client or new patient intake forms, you could have a box there that says, like they would want to receive the emails if they check it. That's a form of permission. So you want to make sure that you get permission, because if you start adding people who didn't sign up for your list, they're going to flag your email as spam, or they're going to delete it, and then that's going to just start stacking against you, and you don't want that. The third has to do with not using deceptive subject lines. So deceptive subject lines or clickbait subject lines, that's basically around where you're writing a subject line to get them to click the email, but then the content, like what you write about, has nothing to do with the subject line. And that can really damage your credibility. When that happens, when you start doing that, people just won't trust the emails that you send. And so you can still have a hook that seems kind of out there and like, wow, that's crazy, and still have that hook relate to your email. So just make sure that, you can absolutely have that intriguing hook as a subject line and still have it relate. Just make sure it is connected from a content perspective. Okay, avoid the too good to be true words or subject lines. That's kind of the umbrella statement for all of those like 200, 300, 500 spam words. If it sounds too good to be true, there's a chance that that could get flagged as spam. So is that saying if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So just, being mindful there that when you're writing your emails, that you're representing truly what it is that's going on. And then include a way for readers to opt out. So just like they gave you their permission, they also should have the ability to unsubscribe or opt out. And that could be just as simple as, at the footer of all of your emails, having something that gives them the ability to hop off your list and unsubscribe. And it's nothing personal. People unsubscribe for all the reasons in the world, even though it feels personal and it's like, oh, I'm wounded, they just hopped off my list. Really, you want them to receive emails that are beneficial and valuable for them. And people's needs change all the time. Your ideal client today may not be your ideal client. They may, shift into another phase tomorrow. But also them unsubscribing helps to keep your list clean as well. And I'll get to that here in a minute because that's towards the end of this list. But you also want to make sure that you're using a reputable email marketing provider. So there's a number of them out there, like MailChimp, Kajabi, ActiveCampaign, HubSpot, etc. Making sure that you're using a reputable one that doesn't do shady tactics, and then keep your email list clean. So if you get a lot of emails that bounce, that can increase your risk of getting flagged for spam. So you want to make sure that your emails that you send are getting to the people, and and anyone who doesn't want to be on your list anymore has a way to remove themselves from your list. You can also have create emails in these platforms that if you haven't had someone read your emails in a while, like let's say if someone hasn't opened your email in any of your emails, they haven't opened a single one in like 3 months or 2 months or whatever, however long you decide, you can have them, you can create a series of like 2 or 3 emails that basically is checking in and is a way to re-engage. They're called re-engagement emails. And basically it's a way to say, hey, I missed you. Like, what's going on? Like, just want to make sure you want to continue to receive the emails. And then there's a follow-up that says, hey, just checking in. Just wanted to let you know, like, there's no hard feelings. If you want to, if you don't want to be on this list anymore, just let me know or unsubscribe here. If I don't hear from you, then, I'll remove you from the list by, in 1 week. And then one final follow-up email. That's another way to help keep your email list clean aside from the bounces, because you want to make sure the emails you do send are getting opened. So scrubbing your list, keeping it clean is a great way to do that. And then finally, use a spam checker tool. So if you are concerned about the spam words and you're like me and you do not want to have to like memorize 397 words to avoid, they have tools out there that you can run your emails through. So I'm not as familiar with the tools that do this, but like Emailable is one that can do that. But you can search online for tools that can review your email and provide you with a score or a list of words that show how likely your email would get flagged for, with spam. All right, so how to create your welcome sequence. So before we jump into this, a couple of points I wanted to make. So the first one is, if at any point that you need help creating your emails, your marketing material, if you have questions or challenges around any other areas in your business, I want to remind you about the amazing advisors and experts at the North Central Texas SBDC. They are a wealth of information and resources, and they're fun. Oh my gosh, they're so much fun. They just provide you with ways to get connected to the solutions that you're facing in your business. So whether that's through advising, training, resources, they always have new things coming up and going on. And there is no reason why as an entrepreneur that you should be suffering alone when you have the North Central Texas SBDC. So if you want to go learn more about what they have to offer or sign up for one of their programs or to go meet with an advisor, visit their website or the phone number there on your screen, and they'll get you connected right away. So I can't speak highly enough about them. All right. Next, this is the disclaimer before we get into this little mini, it's going to be like a little mini workshop-ish, sort of. There are many ways to go about writing a welcome email sequence. The exercise I'm going to take you through is just one of those ways. So feel free, grab that pen and paper or open that Google Doc if you haven't yet. But as we go through this, so these next 5 emails I'm going to walk you through on how to set up or how to start writing or at least outlining is just one way. And they include those 10 components I mentioned earlier, but it's a way to go from someone just hops on your list to kind of creating that open communication for future emails. But again, this is just one of the many ways that you can go about doing this. And it is a little bit more, I would say, geared for like service providers, but you can adjust and tweak these for from a product perspective pretty simply as well. All right, so before we jump into the 5, a short exercise I'm going to have us do, and we'll spend a couple minutes on each of these bullet points doing this. So first, list out all the ways that people can learn about your business. So think about, do you have a business Facebook page? Do you route your, do you do your social media, Instagram, LinkedIn? Do you use your personal Facebook page as a business? Do you have a Facebook group that you have going on? Maybe you have a podcast or a YouTube channel. Let's see what else. A website, social media. What are your social media handles? You have an in-person office, billboards, magazines. You show up at the farmer's market every week. What are any and every way? So start jotting down any and every way that people can learn about your business. So yeah, we have some comments here already. Website, social media. Just make those notes because this is going to be something that you're going to reference here in a minute. So I'll give you a few seconds to write that or list those out. And then the next, as you start winding down that list, start thinking about the type of content that you create. So what is maybe you write blogs or articles. Do you have that YouTube channel where you're putting out helpful videos? Do you have that podcast where you're giving out helpful information on each episode? Do you have speaking events? Maybe you go on Facebook or Instagram Live, or you write articles on LinkedIn or Medium. Maybe you guest appear on, maybe you're a guest writer in your local magazine or an online magazine. Start listing out all the different types of content, the types of content that you create, and just start making a list of all those because we're going to get to those. We're going to use those in one, I believe it's email 2. So start jotting that down. Type of content could also include the material that you make available in your Facebook groups, or if you offer, if you've had like free webinars or master classes in the past that you have access to, just any and all types of content that you create for your business. And that could also be what you put on like your social media post as well. All right, and as you're winding down on that, think through when you have someone join your email list, and you have these first, whether it's your first emails or your whole, like whatever your email strategy is or isn't. When you think about someone joining your list, or even if they walk into your office or call you on the phone or they shoot you an email, what is the ultimate goal for like the one action that you want them to take, or the ultimate goal for them in interacting with you. Is it you want them to schedule a consultation or buy a certain product? Maybe it's like an entry-level product. Maybe is it visiting your store, booking an appointment? Think through when folks come on your email list, what is that one action that you're going to want them to take at the end of it? And that's going to be the action that's going to lead them to the sale. So that could be the example I gave of scheduling a consultation or scheduling a breakthrough call, or a strategy session where they actually you're actually able to shift the conversation from text on the email to an in-person or a Zoom or a phone call. Think through, just jot down, what is that one action? So as you're writing that down, I'll explain kind of the rationale behind why we want to have this one action. So as I mentioned before, when you have your email sequence, you are building up towards that ask. And along that way, as you're building it up, you're going to be seeding in and doing those micro yeses, those easy ways for them to engage back with you. You don't want to just shoot straight to that one immediate action, because that could feel like, oh, that's too much of a leap. I don't feel comfortable doing that. But you want to have that one action in mind. So as you're writing your emails, you have a roadmap leading up to what that's going to look like. So just jot down, what is your one action that you ultimately want your readers to take. All right, so what I'm going to do next is we're going to walk through each of these 5 emails in your welcome sequence. Start taking notes. So what I'll do is I'll walk through email 1. Here's what the overarching kind of theme of that email is, the purpose of it, and then the components I'll have bulleted underneath. So as I'm going through those, start making notes, jot down key phrases that come to mind, anything that comes kind of to you as I'm going through each of these bullet points, so that you can start creating. What that'll do is that'll help to start giving you a framework or an outline for your emails, and that'll make it much easier for you to take half an hour after this webinar, or if you're watching the replay, to just pause it and then write it as you're going through, or as we're going through it. So it'll help give you that framework for it. All right, so email 1. The first email, this is the email that people are going to receive as soon as they enter in their name and their email address, and they hit that button and download your lead magnet, or they subscribe to your email, or they check that box on your new patient form saying, yeah, I want to get your emails. This is that first initial introductory email. It's your initial hello. It's where you thank them for subscribing. You introduce yourself. You let them know when they can hear from you again. So each of these emails, you'll see at the top bullet point and bottom bullet point, you'll have a greet them by name and closing. So I have this on email number 1. You're not going to see those same bullet points on 2, 3, 4, and 5, just from a spacing thing with the slide, but know that you will begin and end each email with that personal greeting and closing. So just wanted to call that out. If you don't see that on other emails, you still definitely want to have that. So this first email, now this one, once you do that initial greet them by name, you give a thank you for them joining your list or downloading your lead magnet. That helps to start building that rapport and showing that gratitude. You can also show, so like, let's say this email structure is for those, let's say you have that lead magnet and they enter in their email address and they hit subscribe or they hit download, excuse me, and they receive the lead magnet. This is how they're coming onto your list. So you will have, I'll give you an alternative to this after I walk through this bullet point, but this email is based upon you have that lead magnet. So you'll give a thank you, thank you for downloading, the name of your lead magnet. You can have a screenshot of what that looks like. And then what you can also do is when you have that screenshot, you could hyperlink that to where they could download it again. Should they lose the file, they have another way to go in and download it. And then you give them you go into another couple of sentences, just showing that you understand what they're going through. You can use the problem that you're solving in your lead magnet. You can pull that into your copy here just to help show that you understand what it is they're going through, why it's important to solve this problem that they're facing, that maybe that's what interested them in the lead magnet. And then encourage them that they're in the right spot. Joining your list is a great first step to take to getting to that, to helping solve that problem. And why is that? That's when you introduce yourself and talk about who you are, what you do, how long you've been doing it, who you've helped, why you love doing it. Just a couple sentences, doesn't have to be long because we're going to get more about you a little bit later. And then you can end with a question that's related kind of to your email or related to what you do, and ask them to reply to your email with their answer. So, for example, if you're a real estate agent, you can end with a question like, what's your favorite part of owning a home? Or if you work just with first-time home buyers, you could ask, what are you most excited about when it comes to getting your first home? Something that just makes it really easy, lighthearted, fun, because the goal is for them to hit reply and message you back. So this first email is structured based upon if they came in through your lead magnet. Now, for many of you, you may have multiple ways for people to come onto your email list. They may come through downloading your lead magnet. They may come through that new patient form. They may come from just a pop-up box on your website. There are a number of ways that they can come through on your email, and you have one of two ways that you can approach that introductory or that welcome email. You can either keep this initial email as a more general, like, thank you for joining my list, and then have those sentences that show that you understand, encourage them they're in the right place, etc. So basically, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but it would just be taking out this screenshot bullet point, and then readjusting your initial thank you to not say thank you for downloading the name of your lead magnet, but more of a thank you for subscribing or for hopping on my list. I'm excited to to be in touch, and then go into those latter bullet points that we walk through and the kind of towards the tail end of that welcome. So you can keep it more general, or you can create multiple intro emails based upon how they come on your list. So you could have that thank you for downloading the lead magnet email, and then you could have another one that is more of that generic thank you for joining my list. Or if you have multiple lead magnets, you can tailor it for each one. So you can make this as simple or as tailored as possible. I'm a big fan of personalizing it, but I also understand that as business owners, you have a million things to do. So there's a balance, right? And done is better than perfect when it comes to writing your copy, or really a lot of things in life and business. So don't feel like you have to be rigid and create all these crazy amounts of intro emails. But really, the goal of this first email is to welcome them and thank them, no matter how they came onto your list. And then in your closing, you can let them know that when you're going to message them again. It could be, hey, talk to you in a couple days, or see you soon, or talk soon. Just letting them know that they're going to be hearing from you again. All right, that just helps to create those expectations that we talked about earlier. All right, second email. This is more of your housekeeping email. And the purpose of this is to make sure they know where and how to follow you on social media, to whitelist your email, really is to whitelist your email. But it's also an opportunity to introduce them to some of your content if you have that. So you'll have that personalized greeting, and then you'll go into that introductory, like that first, intro sentence, and then also let them know steps that they can take to access your resources. So, for example, that copy could sound something like, hey, I wanted to hop in your inbox again, and thank you for downloading or subscribing, your lead magnet, or joining your list. You could restate the benefits of subscribing, and then lead into, wanting to load you up with as many helpful resources as possible. Here are 3 of them, or 3 steps to take. And then you could have, step 1, watch this intro video I made for you. Step 2, follow me on social media. 3, join the conversation, and then introduce them to your online community. Other ideas you could do are watch your videos on YouTube, check out your podcast. But also include in there, make sure that they continue to get your emails, and that has to do with whitelisting. Now I'm going to drop a link into the chat. This is just an example. If you want to provide them, what's more helpful than saying, hey, whitelist my emails, is to actually give them a link where they can do that. So this is an email or a web address that I've used in sequences when writing sequences in the past. And it's a link that shows how to whitelist an email address through Google, Outlook, or Yahoo, and it gives step-by-step instructions for them. So it's just another way to make it really easy for your reader to add your name into their address or their contacts so that your emails don't get sent to spam. And it doesn't put the pressure on them to go figure it out themselves. So once you do that, then let them know, kind of wrap up, letting them know when you're going to be in touch next. Let them know how long it'll be. Again, maybe it's talk soon, or, hey, catch you in a few days. And then what you can also do is include a PS to as a reminder to whitelist your email address again. And then you could have that link in there. Now, the special thing about PS statements is that they are a fantastic way of recapping what's the most important part or most important key takeaway of your email. Or it's also a place where you can address a big obstacle or barrier that they may have in taking an action. So in this example, the PS is to make sure that, to recap that really important part of your email, which is make sure they keep getting your emails, by whitelisting, but you can really update this to whatever you want. So hopefully you can see how in this first email and second email, we're keeping it pretty short. It doesn't have to be long, and I always like just changing it up. So this one can be pretty short. The next one I'm going to walk you through is going to be a little bit longer. But on this second email, when it comes to housekeeping, a couple of notes I wanted to make was that you could, if you wanted to, only have like 4. If you want to cut out an email, you could collapse this into that first one and make the first one be the welcome, thank you, here's, to make the most, make sure I'm getting your email, and then have the whitelist. You could combine email 1 and 2, and the only watch out would be it would just be not overstuffing your email or telling them that they they have a lot to do in the email. So that's one option for email number 2. Now, if we go into email number 3 is where we're going to start getting things to be a little bit more personal and give them a little bit more of that insight into who you are and what you're all about. So this one's going to be about you. And this is where you can share a personal story about yourself. You can introduce or include a meaningful or relevant photo of yourself and describe the backstory of it and why it's important. This helps to build that like, know, and trust factor that we talked about earlier. Shows that you're a real person. It shows the face behind your business, and it can really help you to be more relatable. So a couple of examples would be, so if you were let's take that real estate example. You're a real estate agent, and you can show a photo of you in front of your childhood home when you were a kid, and it was, in front of your home that you grew up in. And then you can share about why getting into the right home matters to you, why that home was so special. And then how that influences what you as a real estate agent today, and how it's important for you to help families get into the right home. Another example would be if you're a speaker, or maybe you're a coach that helps speakers, you could show a photo of the first time that you ever went on stage. You could talk about how nervous you were, or maybe you got stage fright, or maybe you flubbed up your words or tripped going up the stairs, and then share about how you overcame that. What did you do? And maybe you didn't overcome it in that moment, but later on that led you to create this program to help speakers get more confident when they go on stage. So really it's just sharing a fun photo and a meaningful backstory. So even now, as you're hearing this, think through what are some of those stories that connect into why you do what you do, and how you're using that experience to help others now, why it matters. And then what you can also do is you can wrap that up by asking a relevant question that's related to what you do, or maybe related to your story. And then in this one, what you'll want to do is that final ask, that one action that we talked about a few slides back, that one thing you want them to do, you can start seeding that in this email. So in the PS statement, you can start planting that seed or bring up that one action that they can take. So for example, it could be, if you have a free consultation, you could say, also want to let you know as part of, part of joining my list, new subscribers or new, as part of joining my list, I wanted to send you a thank you and that free thank you is, a free 30-minute consultation or a free 30-minute call where we can talk through, XYZ, reply and let me know if you'd like to set that up, or you can include your link to do that. But this PS statement will be where you start to, where you bring that initial ask in, but it's not doesn't have to be a hard sell. All right, fourth one. The fourth email starts to go into, so the last email talks about you. This one focuses more around your work. So it includes testimonials or quotes from your raving fans. And then this is where we start to get a little bit more bold with that final ask by lifting it into the main body of the email. And you can also have a PS statement that reaffirms it too, but this one's gonna start getting more kind of straight to that point. So you'll greet them as you always do. And then you'll have that intro text. In that intro text, you can have a connection statement from your last email. So for example, you could say, in my last email, I shared a photo of the first time that I went on stage. And, I talked about how, I totally biffed it on the stairs and it was embarrassing. But I vowed in that moment that I was going to just get up, dust myself off and, show up confidently and serve. And that led me to, then kind of describe that work that you do now. And what you can do is say, I've helped others to be able to, to overcome their stage fright. And here's what a couple of them had to say, and then include a short testimonial or a couple of quotes from your past clients. Because that starts to introduce social proof. It starts to build your credibility and your authority in this space. And also because it's quotes from others, there's an inherent bias. Like as the business owner, we're expected to think that we're great and what we do is amazing. But there's something about when other people say that it makes it a lot more believable in the eyes of potential customers, because they expect us to be biased. They expect other people who are giving reviews to be honest. So you want to have a couple of those kind of laced throughout your email and the work that you do. And then you'll wrap up that email with a call to action to set up a call with you. And then you could also restate that in a different way in the PS statement. And that catches people who, especially if this is a little bit of a longer email, people will often shoot to the PS or kind of scroll through, skim, and then they'll read the PS more word for word than they might read the email. So it's a great way to catch people who are doing that. And then the fifth email. So the fifth email, this is the final one in the series. The purpose of this one is to create that open loop. It's to transition them from those welcome emails to the additional communication that you're going to be sending them after this sequence ends. So you'll do the greeting, you'll have that intro sentence, you'll recap any of those resources that you sent. What you could also do is share more around the transformations that you offer, or go into, kind of recap the why behind what you do. You can also use this email to share another story. Stories are powerful, and I'm encouraging clients to include them in, because we love stories, and you can communicate really powerful truths and realities through stories. And then wrap up letting them know how often they're going to hear from you. Are you going to be reaching out to them daily, weekly, every other week, monthly? Maybe it's soon, or every now and then you'll pop in their inbox. Whatever your cadence is going to be, let them know how frequently they can expect to hear you. And then remind them to do that final ask. You can put this in the body of the email, but then also in your PS. So if that final ask is, to book that call, or, stop on by, or, buy this product, you can make sure to include that in, absolutely include that into your fifth email. All right. So once you have your emails drafted out, you go back through and double check that they have these 10 components and so these 5 emails do include the welcome and thank you. They're setting expectations, or letting people know what they're getting in, what they're going to be receiving, how often they're going to be hearing from you. You've restated the benefits of being on the list. You've also encouraged them to whitelist, and you've provided them the how-to on that. You've introduced yourself and told them a little bit about you. You've used stories to do that. And you've also talked about your work and how your work has really made a difference in the lives of people. You've also given them some of your best of your resources, of whether it's your YouTube channel or podcast or this really powerful blog that you wrote. You've also started having them do micro yeses along the way, like hit reply to this email, or go check out my Facebook page, or go watch this video. You've been, seeding those throughout your emails. You've sent them to your social page. You told them how to get in touch with you on social media. And then through your call to actions, you're giving them those specific next steps and what actions they can take. And then finally, you're wrapping up your email sequence by creating that open communication for them to continue to expect more emails from you, and it'll flow more seamlessly. So before I get into the last section of this, I wanted to pause and see if you have any questions on those emails, on the email sequence or those 10 components.
Ashley, I don't see any questions in the chat box. If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the questions. I have a question though about how do you send out emails, you yourself? Do you use a tool like MailChimp, Constant Contact, stuff like that?
So I'm actually rebuilding my list because I'm shifting some of my offers, and it'll involve like a new client base. But my platform is Kajabi, and Kajabi is not just an email platform. That's where my website is housed. That's where people can, like pay for offers. Like it's kind of a total system. Whenever I've written for clients, they have used MailChimp, Flowdesk, Active Campaign. Those are the three that come to mind. MailChimp, I've heard that I've been in MailChimp before. So MailChimp is great because it's from the sense of it's really easy to use and set up. I've seen some clients have great success with it, but I've also seen some clients have some challenges with their emails getting through. I don't know if that's a function of the tool or a function of their list. But MailChimp is a really popular one. But Flowdesk and Active Campaign are a couple of others that I've heard. But there's a list of, I think HubSpot does another one. They all offer a little different bells and whistles.
But do they offer analytics?
Yes, yeah. Any reputable email marketing platform will offer those analytics. It'll show you your open rate, your click-through rate, bounce rates, things like that, and unsubscribe rates, like by email. They should be able to break that down. And a lot of the platforms can also do walkthroughs too, so you can see the functionality of the tool and their analytics before you sign up, or they can offer a free trial so you can go in and see.
Gotcha. How often should you check analytics?
That's a great question. So when you are sending a welcome sequence, because that's automated, right? Like that's every person who's on your list is going to receive the same intro emails. I would check those. I would hop in on every month or two because you're going to be getting new people. I would say every month. Just start with every month. Because if you're going in too frequently, your list may not be as helpful. But if you're going in once a month, that allows you to be able to start kind of seeing trends and seeing your numbers update on like, how is this first email doing? How is this third email doing? That's for like your automated emails. But then what I would, that's like one chunk, like these intro automated emails. If you have a campaign, like let's say you have a launch campaign coming up, and you have a series of 10 to 15 emails that are selling a specific program within over like a 2-week time period, I would check those after your campaign is done, immediately after your campaign is done. So you can your brain is fresh because you've just done that launch, and you can do a post-mortem kind of analysis on it to see what emails performed well, what didn't. and then make notes on which ones you want to optimize for the next time you send out that campaign. And then the third bucket would be if you're sending monthly newsletters or you're sending one-off emails. Those are ones that don't get repeated or automated. Those are kind of the one-time shots. I look at those maybe a week or so after they send, because it can take people a couple days to open those emails. So it kind of depends on the emails that you're looking at or the types of emails you're sending. But for these welcome emails, I would probably say once a month.
So for the automated emails, is that something you build into the tool, and anytime somebody subscribes, it just automatically shoots that email? You have no, you're not required to stay right on top of everything and do that manually, right?
Yeah, that's the beauty of these email marketing platforms is you can automate those welcome emails, and you don't have to keep track. You don't have to keep a log of who got what email, because it'll automatically send them all out for you. You just got to write the emails once, load them in to your tool, set how far apart you want the emails to send, and then go back in and check your analytics. And of course, if people hit respond, and they reply to your email and you get the email in your inbox, obviously you're replying to those. But yeah, that's the beauty of automating is you've set it once and you can let it go. And the only time you would go in is if you're checking analytics or you're wanting to update the copy.
Gotcha.
Or troubleshoot some problem, But you can test it before you start collecting email addresses. You can test it on yourself. You can load it in. And especially if you're new on getting a list built up, or even if you have an existing list and you're wanting to start an email and welcome sequence for new subscribers, get it set up, subscribe yourself, or have another email address that you can subscribe to, and then just make sure that it all that you can test it on yourself before you start publicizing it out to everyone.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all the questions I see for right now.
All right. I see. No, but what a list of spam words. Yeah. When I looked that up, because I was like, I want to be able to include, some helpful spam words, but I know there's a lot. So I was trying to re-jog then I saw like 500 and 300. And I'm like, no, that's a mess. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up then with fun tips to upgrade your emails. All right. So I know we talked about this a number of times about personalizing them. But the reasoning behind this is because 40% of people who receive promotional emails say that they're not that interesting. And so personalizing your emails is a great way to open and boost your conversion rates. So what you can do on that, I'll give you another idea here after this on how to do it, but you can get really specific. You can segment your list. That's a little bit more probably level 2 of starting to add tags or start to segment your list, so that I think the example I gave last time was if you're like a financial advisor and you help, you have people on your list who are just out of college in the early stages of their career, and then those who are entering in retirement. You want to, if you could segment those in your email list so that the people who are nearing retirement aren't getting early career emails, and vice versa. So personalizing it can be a really fun way to introduce fresh content. And because the more specific you're able to write your emails, the more fun you're going to have as well, because you're not having to figure out and put all this pressure on yourself to write the broadest email to capture everybody. But really, one of my favorite ways to get personal is more around telling stories. And I love sharing stories about what's relevant for what you do, who you are, your company's values, something that you experience that your ideal client could relate to. It's a great way to keep readers engaged. If they know that they're going to get a really fun, interesting, relevant story, you have they're going to be more engaged and more excited to open up your emails. You can also include GIFs and videos. So that's a fun way to add some multimedia into your emails and to add a little bit of zest. You can make it more interactive and fun by just including, you can just have one in there. And of course, that also goes into if that fits your brand, right? So you wouldn't necessarily want to have this particular GIF playing if you tend to be more professional, buttoned up, more serious. But if you're a fun, playful, more informal, casual type of brand, then this might be like a fun gift to include. But you can also include, even if you don't want to include gifts, you can also put in videos, and that could be a short YouTube video or a short Zoom video that you've recorded that they could hit play on right in the email. And that works especially great if you tend to prefer doing videos over writing copy. I know a number of business owners who prefer to do videos. So you can lean on that and then include those in your email. Who says email has to be all text? So feel free to change it up. And then the last one is play around with emojis. So again, this goes into if it fits with your brand, but playing with emojis is a fun way to just be able to, it can be a little bit more casual, helps to break up the monotony of the text, but also if you include them in your subject line, not a lot of marketers will put emojis in their subject line. So that's a great way for your subject line to pop, is if you put an emoji either beginning or end or some point in your subject line. So you can play around with them in your subject line and your body of your email copy, and just see how it feels. You can try it, and if you don't like it, you can always delete it out. All right, so just to recap what we covered today, we talked through what is a welcome sequence, what are the key components that you want to have in a welcome sequence, what not to say, so what are those faux pas you want to steer way clear from, and then we walked through the exact steps to write a 5-email sequence for your business. And then we wrapped up with some creative, fun ways to upgrade your emails and get a little bit more zest and life into them. So if you have any questions, I'll take coolest slide ever. You have no idea how many GIFs I looked at before I landed on that one, because I can go down a GIF rabbit trail. But here's how you can contact me. I'll also open the floor if you have any questions. I'd be happy to take those. Let's see. Okay, so I had the wrong time noted. No worries at all. But yes, this video will be uploaded on YouTube. Let me get that. I'll repaste that YouTube channel. This is the North Central Texas SBDC YouTube channel. So you can catch a replay of this. And the great thing about the replay is when we go through that little mini workshop section, you can pause it and make notes and write it down as you're going through it. So today we went through it a little bit quickly for the sake of time, but the replay will be great for you to pause and kind of workshop it as you go. So definitely check that out.
Well, Ellis, I'm glad you got to join us, though. We've really appreciate. I think you've been on at least one of the previous two, I believe. And that's, oh, she's been on all of them. Okay, Ellis has been on all of them.
Oh, great.
Yeah, that said, parts 1 and 2 are on our YouTube channel. So you should be able to scroll through there and find them all. And like Ashley said, hey, pause them and think about it. Look it up. That's going to be a good part of using the YouTube channel, the videos on the webinars on the YouTube channel. Ashley, thank you so much. We really appreciate everything that you've shared with us. I'm going to go ahead and share this screen. Maybe. There we go. There we go. Everyone will be getting a survey. And if you would please just complete the survey, send it back to us. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what topics you would like to hear about. And we're always looking for ways to improve our program. We only have one upcoming webinar tomorrow. Our financial whiz, Rebecca Schultz, is bringing inflation and paying your employees. That's a critical topic nowadays, but we will be scheduling others throughout the remainder of the year. So, keep looking on our Eventbrite, and that's where you'll find them all. If you want to register for any of those webinars, you can go to the QR code in the upper right-hand corner. That'll take you to our website. You can also get contact information for the SBDC. You can schedule an appointment with an advisor. And we do have some resources already housed on the website. You can use those. One of them is called Size Up, and it's a really good way to get demographics and a lot of different interesting industry information. As I mentioned earlier, we are grant funded, and because of that, I would like to thank a few folks: the Small Business Administration, the State of Texas, North Texas SBDC Regional Office, and our host college, North Central Texas College. Thank you all for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And this will end the webinar. Have a great afternoon.